Twitter. Greetings, X. I wanted to go live today to talk about update on basically where things stand with the emergency abortion lawsuit, or abortion emergency lawsuit. I didn't want to let the day go by without actually getting on here live and talking about it. And quite a bit has happened since yesterday when I went live. I'll try to give a slight recap without repeating all the details at hand. But basically yesterday when I was live talking, I think it was yesterday or was it the day before? Now that I think about it, I don't remember. But when I was live last, let's put it that way. We talked about the fact that the case was heard in district court. It was an emergency hearing, and the district judge, her name is Gara Gamble, is the last name. She issued a temporary restraining order allowing Ms. Cox to have the necessary abortion treatment that she needs for her unique situation. And I mentioned also that a few hours after that, Attorney General Ken Paxton fired off a letter, and I showed you guys the letter. It is, I'll put it here, you can see. This is the letter he sent to the hospitals, threatening legal action, prosecution, if they were to allow the abortion to take place. And things went pretty out of control after that, and that's in looking in this, and I believe I mentioned it. I may have mentioned it in my last live, and I mentioned it, on social media in comments. I specifically said that it looked to me like Paxton circumvented the judicial system. And the more that I see what's going on, and now that basically the Texas Supreme Court has put a pause on the TRO to be able to review the case, I think Paxton got exactly what he wanted. It's more convincing to me now that he did circumvent the court system. The chronology and the timeline of everything that has happened, it proves my theory conclusively. It proves it beyond doubt, really, because of the fact that I didn't want to retrace my steps too much, but let me give you all a brief synopsis of what I'm talking about. Hours after. And I want to say it had to have been probably the TRO. I think came out probably around lunchtime or maybe a little bit after, like around 1 o'clock, because I got wind of it through social media probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock. I think it was when it came out, and then a couple of hours after that, I want to say probably 4:30, 5 o'clock, that's when I learned about this letter that Paxton wrote. And I want to say that he probably wrote this letter and sent it out shortly after the TRO was issued. So, he basically, and I think by all intent purposes, the act of sending this letter out constituted a violation of the TRO, because by threatening, and somebody who's a lawyer can correct me if I'm wrong, by threatening the hospitals, he is threatening the livelihood of the doctor who is protected by the TRO. Am I right? So, in essence, by threatening them, he is like remotely, if not really close to violating the TRO. And I think he knew that, because what happened next after that was that the attorney representing Ms. Cox, Molly Duane, sent a letter to the judge saying Paxton sent this letter to the hospital, and we believe that we request and demand, or we request that you bring him in front of the court to explain himself. Now, knowing laws, but knowing the fact that he did this, I would think Judge Gamble would be pissed as hell. Or at the very least, displeased, maybe upset that Paxton would pull a stunt like this, knowing full well there's a TRO. Now, I think when Paxton learned of the letter that was sent by Miss Duane to Judge Gamble, he knew that eventually he was going to have to face the music in front of the judge and explain himself. Now, I think that's why he rushed in the middle of the night at 11:45 p.m. filing an appeal to the Texas Supreme Court. And he most likely did this because he knew full well that he needed to have some sort of protection in front of the district judge. And what better way to do this than to appeal the case and get the order stayed? Because if he gets the order stayed, Judge Gamble can't really do anything at that point. At least not until the Supreme Court decides one way or another whether or not they're going to allow the restraining order to stand. And if they do, then, well, obviously, Paxton is going to end up having to face the judge. And I think he's trying to avoid that by filing this appeal, which, in my honest opinion, is clear evidence by this chronology of events that he blatantly attempted to circumvent a TRO and circumvent the judicial court system in Texas. Now the question is, can he be criminally prosecuted for this? I would hope so, but I have no idea. He's been very shifty in a lot of things that he's done, and I use that term because it's obviously everything that's been said about him in social media as of late has been really negative. And given the fact that now he's successfully got the state Supreme Court to pause the TRO, it has created a major backlash in social media. I was surprised to see just how many people were complaining, how many women were complaining that what he did was unforgivable, And unfortunately, Ken Paxton, just as the director and the president of the Texas Medical Board, and even the author of these abortion laws and the governor have been silent up until this point about the laws and clarifying what the medical exception is all about. They've been silent. They have literally, and this is kind of what I believe is frustrated not only myself, but it's frustrated the attorneys for these clients. It's frustrated these pregnant women. It's frustrated doctors. Is that these agencies, their inability or their unwillingness to grow a set of and have the balls or testicles to get in front of a freaking public camera or in front of the public and address the situation, and say, okay, this is what we understand the law to be. They've kept silent. Paxton has spoken through his paperwork. He's spoken through his office, through his actions. He has not had the balls. He's not had the testicles to get in front of a freaking camera and, address this in front of the public. He is basically showing that he's not even a man to do that. And I will straight up challenge him to grow a set and get in front of a camera. And talk about the situation. Show that he's a man. Show, what he's made of. And I would say the same thing about the Texas Medical Board. Geez, these two guys in the medical board, the president of the medical board and the executive director, man, for crying out loud, grow a set. Show that you have manhood. Get in front of a camera and address this controversy, for crying out loud. Don't hide behind a camera. Your negligence in doing this is what brought these lawsuits and is what has created all this confusion. You're not doing anything good for the state by keeping your mouth shut. You got to address this. You got to get in front of the public. Grow a set. Because obviously you're showing that you don't have any manhood by hiding in your offices. Enough said in that respect. So, but it has created a major backlash now. And I would not be surprised. I posted this on social media earlier today, because I've been checking in on social media periodically throughout the day, because I wanted to see if there was any more news with respect to the suit, or what the comments have been. And it has pissed off a lot of people. Even the governor of California. And people can say, well, he's liberal. Why talk about him? But the fact that it's getting the attention of very important people. It is really making the state of Texas look bad, to say the least. Governor Newsom said, well, he invited Ms. Cox to head over there and get her treatment. He said, you don't have to be suffering in the state of Texas. You're welcome to come here or Colorado for an abortion if you actually need it. But I think the problem not only lies with and this is a lot of things that I've been hearing also on social media, is that if she travels out of the state, there is a bounty law now that they could prosecute her for having an abortion out of state. Now, I don't know if that is, legitimately true, because of the fact that I believe it's SB 8 or the other abortion law specifically states that a woman cannot be prosecuted for having an abortion. So I don't know how intertwined these laws are with respect to the bounty law. But this is how bad it's getting. And unfortunately, from what I've been reading and hearing, I am more convinced now that this is a power struggle. Because if you think about it, everything that the Conservative Party has done has been total control. They tried to control the use of vaccines. That's medical. They've tried to control the administration of medical treatment for transgenders. That's medical. They have tried to control certain aspects of the drug industry. That's medical. There is a lot of lawsuits that have been filed with respect to the medical industry, with respect to the rights of individuals. Even when we were dealing with masks during COVID, the Republicans were adamant that the government didn't, or that no government did not have the right to force people to wear masks. But the pretense of that, and even when the government was recommending that businesses be closed, these two steps, instead of promoting, if you think about it, promoting the health and welfare of the citizens of this state and of this nation, it kind of did exactly the opposite, because more people got sick with COVID, if you think about it. So it's all it makes the argument about total control being more and more realistic. And I think that when you're talking about that type of control, you're talking about authoritarianism. And I don't know if that's what we need as a country. Do we actually want a dictatorship in our United States? Because the more you look at all these little details, the more it looks like we're headed in that direction. The Republican Party is trying to turn itself into a dictatorship. They're complaining that the dictators and the communists and the socialists are the liberal Democratic Party, but in essence, what the conservatives are doing is becoming more and more what they're arguing that the Liberal Party is. So it's generating basically an entire mountain of confusion in that sense. And unfortunately, it's making the issue of healthcare in our country that more distressing and confusing, because now women cannot get the health care that they need for these types of situations that do in fact occur during pregnancies. The trisomy 18, an unviable pregnancy, whatever the complications are because of that, and other different types of medical diagnoses that would basically conclude that a viable pregnancy is not viable and is in fact a danger to a pregnant woman. I don't think, let me rephrase that. When these people that were authors of these laws wrote these laws, I don't think they considered the full